Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Derica, and you're watching City Studying Brews.
Today we are doing a rough rack and initial measurement of the Klingon Blood Wine. Let's just get right to it. First thing you got to do to get a reading is take the lid off. Now this has been sitting since February 5th. Today is February 25th. That makes it 20 days by my estimation. I did give it a little bit of a shake every now and then. For the first few days it was more often. And then after that, it got a little less frequent and a little less frequent. I think I shook it yesterday for the last time. Okay, as the lid came off, I was greeted with this lovely smell. Oh boy. Oh boy, this is going to be good. I do have one minor little problem with this though. I have to reach in there and get that bag out.
Do you want me to do it? I know you have a phobia.
Well, you got to lift it up.
Yep.
And hold it so it drains.
Yep.
It's going to be kind of heavy.
Yep. Gotcha.
Yeah, I would. Not my favorite thing to do right there. Now we want to be somewhat careful that we don't get too much oxygen in there, so keep it low, close to it, so it doesn't drip too much. I'm not worried about the dripping because we're going to put that in a colander and let it drip into a bowl that we can then return this to the thing. So if you want, just put it right into the colander bit. There we go. Now that bag is reusable. That fruit, you can compost it if you really want to. There's sticks and twigs and stuff in there too, so it's not really something you want to eat so much. But now I just touched it and I'm sticky. I gotta go wash my hands. So what we want to do now is rack what's here into a fermenter, and we're going to put it under airlock for secondary fermentation.
Now, when we say rack, we're actually not racking.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm trying to clarify for you
guys. We're not really taking it off the lease,
Yes.
is what she's trying to say. Like, I'm actually going to stir this up and then rack it over. It's literally just to get it out of this bucket at this point because we don't want that much headspace anymore. But let me take a quick reading on this. Okay, so our gravity is 1.002, which makes this very, very dry. But it also started at 1.060 and now it's 1.002. And you wonder, it's an awful low starting gravity. I mean, it's somewhere in, just off the top of my head, 9% or so alcohol, maybe something like that. So, since we want this to be strong, we're going to now, it's not back sweetening, we're actually kind of just going to add more sugar to it to boost up that alcohol level. We're step feeding it, okay? That's the easiest way to say this. So what I'm going to do first is pour this sample back in. Yeah. And we're going to put that back into turbos. And then I'm going to grab the bowl that has the bag of fruit. And I'm going to pour that back in. Carefully. So as not to disturb everything again. And I'll just let that sit for a few more minutes. It'll probably get a little bit more out. Now what I'm going to do is put half of this into here, and then we're going to add sugar, okay? Actually, I'm probably going to add sugar first because it'll be a lot easier. So, that brings up an interesting dilemma. How much sugar should I add? Because the way it works is we would add up all of the points of gravity being used. So if I had 60 points used already, 58, and I added a pound of sugar, which is 46, that makes it like 104 points or like a 1.104 gravity. That sounds like a pretty good place to start. So I'm going to do 1 pound today.
So when you're weighing your sugar, make sure that you have your funnel or whatever you're going to use all combined on your scale and tear it out before you start. Because if you add your funnel later, then that's going to change your weight. Also, if you have a helper, me in this case, who's trying to study things, make sure they don't actually come in contact because that's going to change the weight as well.
Now, there's a little bit of sugar still in this funnel because this was wet because it was sanitized. So it's not really a problem because I'm going to be pouring liquid in after. That's part of what she was talking about. Make sure you tear out the funnel too. Now, what I'm going to do, some people will not like this. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to mix this up and then pour it in because I want the lees from the bottom. All right. So normally I would not do this because you usually want to rack off the lees. That's what Derek was trying to say earlier, and I completely didn't understand. Yes, I am a natural blonde. She was saying this isn't really racking. Well, it's racking, but it's not actually moving from primary to secondary fermentation. And it's racking only in that we are technically moving liquid. That's the only reason why this is racking at all. Normally you would not do something like this, but in this case we wanted to get those solids out of there, and we're adding more sugar. So this is a more complex brew than sometimes, you know, you gotta adapt.
The main reason why we're doing it this way rather than just adding the sugar to that is that we need that vessel for something else.
Yeah.
And we want to minimize the headspace now that we've removed all of that solid fruit.
And now, she can now hold that funnel, and hopefully I don't make a huge mess. Okay. And now I'm going to do something else that's probably going to freak some people out. I'm going to put a stopper in this, and I'm going to mix this up. I'm going to shake the bejesus out of it. And you're probably asking why. Well, because I need to mix that sugar in. And why am I not worried about it? That's a really good question.
The reason why he's not worried about it is because technically this is still primary fermentation. And because we used K1V116, I got it right, yay. I cheated, I was looking. We know that it has plenty of alcohol tolerance left, so it should just kick right back up now that it's got sugar.
And there is plenty of CO2 in here. So all that oxygen that was in here that I forced into the liquid is being forced right back out. Oxygen is lighter than CO2, so it's forcing it out. Yeah. Degassing at this point is probably a decent idea. Wow, that sugar blended in nicely. All right, time for a funnel. And we're going to put the rest of the brew right in. I'm expecting this to re-ferment, just so you're aware. Pause for foam. Okay, so all that's left now is to take another hydrometer reading just to make sure my numbers are right, and then put the airlock back on. Okay, so it came out to like 10:30, and I went, wait a minute, but I just added a pound of sugar. And I fell for one of the most common mistakes you could make, and that is I didn't actually stir my sugar in well enough. So that's going to make this a little bit more complicated now that I have this much liquid in there, but I have to do it. So I'm just going to set this to the side for a minute so I can have as much space as possible. And if you look, you can actually see it on the bottom. There's a good layer of sugar there that didn't dissolve. This is going to explode. Yeah, not so bad. Now we'll take another reading. So you see right there, taking the reading told me that I hadn't mixed it well enough. There's so many reasons to take these readings, and it's not really just about knowing how much alcohol you're making. So if it's all mixed in, it should come to 1048, which is what it's at. 1.048. That's never happened before, or it was like exactly where it's supposed to be. But yeah, 1.048. Because, you know, 2 points plus the 46 points from the 1 pound of sugar, boom, 1048. So now we're going to put that back in there. I'll pour this back in here. Everything's been sanitized. There's really no need to worry about this sample. I do worry that I have very, very, very little headroom in here, because this is still considered a primary fermentation, sort of an extended primary fermentation, if you will. So I do worry about that. And I think, well, you know what? If it starts up too heavily, I can always put a blow-off tube on it. Not a problem. So airlock back on. And there we go. What happens next? Well, it's going to go back to a darkened, kind of cool place, somewhere between 65 and 75 degrees in our house. That's Fahrenheit for all you Celsius people. It's right here. And we're going to give this probably another 2 to 3 weeks and let it do its thing. Then we'll take another reading and you'll see another video. But that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.